another, it's good that you say that, because we know a lot of people out there are looking at the different, with us coming out and coming back home and sharing the information with a lot of our loved ones. I'm sure they do an investigation and they're looking at a lot of the other tribes. One key identifier for that they can use is the Most High say vengeance is mine. So he won't be putting the vengeance, the movement of vengeance into the hands of his people.
Right.
If they're really authentically following his word.
Exactly.
They will understand and be obedient to what the Most High says, and vengeance belongs to him. So if you're out there being aggressive, saying that you're going to do this, that to your enemy and blah, that's against what the scripture says.
That's out of order.
That's out of order.
Hey, that's not of the Most High. You're absolutely right, Prophet. I'm glad you brought that out. There is no sleeper cells with this. Okay? We're awoke, and we are bringing the gospel of truth to our people. That's what we're called to do. That's it.
Yeah, our people perish for a lack of knowledge, not for a lack of war tactics.
Right. Right. Hey, you know what? The next thing, I want the prophets to read this. Let's look at this here, okay? Remember I said that Judah has brothers, right? Judah has brothers. Let's read the little prophecy on Judah. Let's look at the testament of Judah. Let's bring that out, prophetess.
The testament of Judah, the fourth son of Jacob and Leah. The copy of the words of Judah, what things he spake to his sons before he died. They gathered themselves together, therefore, and came to him. And he said to them, hearken, my children, to Judah, your father. I was the fourth son born to my father Jacob.
Now, brothers and sisters, this is Judah himself talking to his children. This is our father Judah talking to us. Jacob already told the prophecy on all his sons, but this is Judah talking to his sons.
Okay.
Check this out.
I'll continue reading, and you can find this particular testament. These are our records, and we need to understand that these are our records, and we need to be privy of all things that pertain to the Most High and his prophecy on his people. This particular insert is found at www.earlychristianwritings.com. And again, the title is The Testament of the 12 Tribes, and I am reading right now the Testament of Judah. The Testament of Judah, and Judah is the fourth son of Jacob and Leah. And again at verse 3, they gathered themselves together, therefore, and came to him, and he said to them, hearken, my children, to Judah your father. I was the fourth son born to my father Jacob, and Leah my mother named me Judah, saying, I give thanks to the Most High God our power, because he has given me a fourth son also. I was swift in my youth and obedient to my father in everything, and I honored my mother and my mother's sister. And it came to pass, when I became a man, that my father blessed me, saying, thou shalt be a king, prospering in all things. And the Most High God showed me favor in all my works, both in the field and in the house. I know that I raced a hind and caught it, and prepared the meat for my father, and he did eat. And the roes I used to master in the chase and overtake all that was in the plains, a wild mare I overtook, and caught it and tamed it. I slew a lion and plucked a kid out of its mouth. I took a bear by its paw and hurled it down the cliff, and it was crushed. I outran the wild boar, and seizing it as I ran, I tore it in sunder. A leopard in Hebron leaped upon my dog, and I caught it by the tail and hurled it on the rocks, and it was broken in twain. I found a wild ox feeding in the fields, and seizing it by the horns, and whirling it round and stunning it, I cast it from me and slew it. So basically, as we've read in the first and second scripture, we're seeing the blessing that was upon his life. As he stated, he says, and it came to pass when I became a man that my father blessed me, saying that thou shalt be a king, prospering in all things. And so he goes on with his testament to show you how he had prospered and the great strength that he had in so many different things. And the Lord showed me favor in all my works, both in the field and in the house. So in the field with all the beasts that he referenced, I know that I raced a hind and caught it. He raced a hind, a wild animal like a horse. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, that is.
And prepared the meat for my father, and he did eat. And the roes I used to master in the chase and overtake all that was in the plains.
Brothers and sisters, Judah is giving testimony about his special abilities.
Mm-hmm.
We had him.
Mm-hmm.
He had a brother that lived 200 and some years.
Yeah.
They lived for a long time. Okay? They were strong, fast. They had abilities.
Mm-hmm.
When we return back to the Most High, he's going to restore to us back what we had. Adam named every animal. Where do you think that intelligence came from? Okay? We were special people. Sin destroyed us.
Mm-hmm.
Sin put us in a fallen state.
Mm-hmm. And it started declining from the very first bite.
Exactly.
It was declining. And that, it's so interesting because I had never really recognized it like that, Elder. When we read the scriptures and we said this day, the adversary lied to Eve and said, surely you will not die. But he knew very well you began to die. And on that day, even though it took, he said this day, a day unto the Most High is 1,000 years. Exactly. Adam died at 965 years, I believe it was. So it was just short of what the Most High would recognize as a day. It still meant that day he died. He didn't live a full day according to the years of the Most High.
Exactly.
And from there, mankind has continued to deteriorate. Their lifespan has continued to deteriorate. And so that's the significance too of us waking up right now, because we're at the beginning of the restoration.
We are. And there's more to come. Did you get through with that, Prophet? Where'd you end up?
I'm just right here at the did you want me to read the whole thing?
Where you at right now?
I'm just at the second verse.
Go ahead.
All right. And so it was talking about the animals and things that he did. He said, and the roes I used to master in the chase and overtake all that was in the plains.
Brothers, a roe is a deer, an antelope, a fast, swift animal. Look, lioness, they have problems chasing them. Judah said, I mastered and used them to
train him, pretty much is what it sounds like he's saying. He says, and the roes I used to master in the chase. So that means in the chase. So he trained by running alongside the deer. So he trained himself to run fast. He said, and overtake all that was in the plain.
If you can imagine a black man running through the jungle like the Black Panther, that's one of my superheroes from Marvel. Brothers, y'all know what Marvel is. Black Panther had those abilities, right?
That's why they made him like
that. That's why they made him like that.
That's why he was Judah.
Right. He was Judah all along, right? Black Panther had those abilities. Cheetah has those abilities, okay? We had those abilities. Look, they tried to put it on a white man called Tarzan. Remember that?
And it's so interesting. Yep. It's so interesting because he tells you what he used to train. He used the doe. And then he goes on and says, a wild mare I overtook and caught it. Because of his training, he was able to catch a wild mare and tame it. I slew a lion and plucked a kid out of his mouth. Slew a lion and plucked a kid out of his mouth. I took a bear by its paw. Now see, that the desensitization, you know,
Right.
we talk about that in the world today
Mm.
when we look at television shows and things. Well, you're being desensitized from potentially believing this
Mm.
because of some of the things that they have labeled as fairy tales,
Mhm.
but they were actually true.
Right.
So you're desensitized. Oh, that's fiction.
Right.
No one can do that. Why? Because you have already been desensitized and brainwashed to believe that these types of things never happen.
Exactly. And you know what? Another example of it. When we look, because I love martial arts, always
Mhm.
have, and it's a reason why. But when you look at the martial art movies and you see the men jumping up, and the women too, flying high up and stuff like that,
Mhm.
where did that thought come from?
Right.
Where did that idea come from?
Mhm.
There's nothing new under the sun, brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
They got that from somewhere.
Mhm.
All right? It was done in iniquity. People had these abilities.
And we need to understand that our state is so low at this point, which is why we're at the point of the wake up.
Mhm.
You know, we have suffered from the result of being asleep so many years for so many generations,
Mhm.
and that puts us in a deadened state. To the point where it's hard for us to believe. We doubt everything. I mean, all of our senses are affected by that.
Mm.
So we need to understand that there's nothing new under the sun. The fact that people walk and someone came up with that idea, you have to understand that that's not new.
You have to understand it. We encourage you to read all of the 12 patriots, the testaments of the 12 patriots. Read them all, okay? Because from Judah down to Zebulon, we all had our own special, unique characteristics. Okay?
And that they carry with the tribes, and you'll probably find them as we've broken down who they are today. You more than likely will find many of those gifts and their traits within their bloodline.
Brothers, the churches should be teaching this. If they're not teaching it, you need to leave that place, because this is prophecy. This is a part of resurrection. It has to do with judgment as well.
If they're not teaching it, you're really pretty much on the outside of the bubble, and you need to. Why would you go there?
I mean, don't trust them. We don't know who the 12 tribes. Yes, we know who the 12 tribes are.
And a lot of people listening might not want to, because they might like just listening to the music and being entertained. They've taught us to be entertained, and that's all that we should look for.
Bro, look, brothers, follow along with us. We're going to go into the book of Chronicles. Let's go to 1 Chronicles, prophetess. Let's go to 1 Chronicles chapter 5 here.
Did you want me to read any more on Judah?
No, that's fine. That's good. Praise the Most High.
Mm-hmm. Second Chronicles or first?
1 Chronicles chapter 5. What I got here? Verse 20. Yeah. Matter of fact, read verse 25, prophets, okay? 2 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 25 down to verse 26.
And we're talking about who?
We're talking about the 10 tribes being scattered. That's what we. Yeah.
So the first verse says, "Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was." That's the first verse of chapter 5.
Yeah, I want you to read verse 25 and verse 26 from chapter 5.
And they transgressed,
Yep.
transgressed against the Most High God of their fathers,
Mm-hmm.
and went a whoring after the gods of the people and the land, whom the Most High God destroyed before them.
This is the 10 tribes. This is what they did. Okay, come on, prophets.
And the Most High God of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul, king of Assyria,
Mm-hmm.
and the spirit of Tilgath-Pilneser, king of Assyria, and he carried them away, even the Reubenites and the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh, and brought them unto Halah and Habor and Hara, and to the river Gozan unto this day.
So this is the 10 tribes. Look, every time we go off horn and worshiping other gods, we get led into captivity.
Absolutely. And that's what we need to understand. I mean, if we would just pull and do a survey on that, how many times that happened.
Mhm.
We need to first of all understand what the whoring is.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, our state of being as people, because we've been in a sleep state for so long, we don't even understand what idols are,
Right.
and how they're so prevalent today in our lifestyles. What we accept as normal, a lot of it is pagan worship, idolatry.
Mm-hmm.
And what idolatry is whoring.
Right.
It's adultery to the Most High.
Right.
When you turn your faith, your attentions to something else that as your savior, or as your wherewithal, can't live without